unless you're speaking to people that are doing different things, you're going to be stuck in like this bubble of what you know.
Yeah.
But then when you start meeting other people, you understand that there are so many different ways to make money, so many different ways to create businesses and different avenues of businesses. So it just gives you a complete new look of the world, I would say, as well.
Opportunities come from networking.
Literally.
It's always networking. If you're just like a Billy No Mates in your room, you're not gonna get no opportunities. So you have to put yourself out there.
A lot of the times when you're networking, sometimes the people that you meet are not going to be the people that you directly work with.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Rise Collective channel. In today's episode, we're going to be speaking about the power of networking. Let's kick it straight off. Why do you think networking is so powerful for one's success or one's business?
You know what? I think I got lucky in terms of networking. So as I mentioned in the previous episode, I actually got into network marketing really, really early, really young. I was 18. So I was thrown into this world of like, you have to network. You have to get out there and talk to people. You have to be able to sell. So I was lucky enough to meet a lot of people back then who have actually helped my networking skills today. So for example, Coyote, I met doing network marketing, who, those of you who don't know, Coyote was on The Apprentice, a really, really great character and someone now who I look up to in terms of networking. Who else was there? There were so many different people that I met back then who were doing different types of businesses, who now are really, really successful. So I was really lucky to get to know these people through network marketing. I then did a lot of networking within the property industry, which, funnily enough, networking within the property industry is actually what got me my first content job with trading. Like, so completely unrelated to trading, but I was doing loads of networking within property. So I was going to so many like free networking events, just about property. There was a lot of like free courses, and they always push you to just go and talk to people. So I ended up doing basically like a mentorship with this property guy, and he asked me to go on stage and like talk about my experience with him in property, which I've never actually got into property, but it was something that I was interested in. So yeah, I ended up posting this photo on social media, and a prop firm that I had met through Twitter a couple of years ago, they reached out to me to do a partnership, did the partnership, and then they saw this photo of me talking on stage on my Instagram page. So they randomly messaged me one day and they were like, hey, could you hop on a call with us? Like, we have a proposition. So I was all right, cool, like, what's this all about? And they were like, so we've seen this photo on your Instagram of you doing like public speaking. And I was like, it wasn't really public speaking, it was just like kind of an interview, like on stage. And they were like, well, if you're comfortable on stage, would you think you'd be comfortable in front of a camera? And do you think you'd be able to do our content? And do you think that you would be able to be our podcast host? At the time, I was like, what? Like, how did you get that from that photo? But obviously I understood the fact of like, if you don't know what you're doing, you just say yes and learn how to do it as you go. So I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. And yeah, then obviously the rest is history. Worked with them. I now work with Equity Edge, but that was just from networking. If I hadn't have been networking at that point, I wouldn't have had that photo, wouldn't have posted it on Instagram, the prop firm wouldn't have reached out to me, I wouldn't be where I am today. So it just goes to show, like, networking in general might not make sense for you all the time, but eventually it will.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like for me, networking is so important, but I'm very introverted, so I actually don't like to mix with people. I don't like to go up to people, and because you just never know, like some people might not want to speak to no one. And I'm very much like, I'll keep myself to myself. But again, you have to be open to opportunities because, like yourself, opportunities come from networking. Literally. It's always networking. If you're just like a Billy No Mates in your room, you're not gonna get no opportunities. So you have to put yourself out there, whether it be online, whether it be turning up to events. And for me, like my proper first networking event I went to was actually a trading one. It was EYL. And then I went to a Jessica Lane as well.
Yeah.
And I made some friends. I don't talk to them now, but at the time, like, I spoke to them, and it was actually really cool because one of the girls I met, she was actually learning the same course that I was learning to trade. So we like kind of just like went back and forth with ideas, like what we was going through. And it was so important to me because I didn't have anyone to talk to about trading. I couldn't speak to my family. I couldn't speak to my partner at the time. I couldn't speak to my friends. Like, there was no one I could speak to about trading. They just didn't understand. And everyone around me was like, that's a scam. It's a pyramid scheme. So to meet someone that could understand me was amazing. And then it led me on to getting myself like Twitter, because I was always like anti-Twitter. I don't know why, which we now call X. And then obviously I met someone at the EYL event that you also know, and he basically set us up and was like, you girls should meet each other. And then we was going to another event.
Yeah, it was another EYL event.
Another EYL event, yeah. And then we was like, is anyone going? Should we do a meetup? And that is literally what led us to having a whole community, doing multiple events.
Yeah.
And that is literally the power of networking.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like so pro advocate for it, because if you just put yourself in uncomfortable situations, it can flourish so beautifully if you just let yourself be open to the opportunities. And obviously I did. And then it led me to us starting a business, me working with like the same business as you before, and all of the opportunities that we've had now. So I do think networking is just so important for your growth, but also like your mind, because not everyone around you is going to be doing the same thing as you. So when you find like-minded individuals in the same room as you, it can totally push you and make you feel like what you're doing is worth it, because when everyone around you is like doubting you or making you feel like what you're doing isn't worth it, especially like talking to someone that's, for example, a 9-to-5er, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're trying to open up a business or trying to get into trading or into property, someone that does a normal 9-to-5 business isn't going to understand a 9-to-5 job. I mean, they're not going to understand what it takes to get to where you need to be. And that's why I'm pro networking.
I absolutely agree. And it's crazy how a lot of the times when you're networking, sometimes the people that you meet are not going to be the people that you directly work with. For example, us, the person that we met, we've never actually done any type of business with him or any collaborations with him, but he's the person that put us two together. And then obviously from that, we've built a business, which I think is so cool. Like, if we hadn't been networking, we never would have been here.
Yeah.
But again, I'm like you, I am really introverted. Like, I am only comfortable around people that I know, and they will know like my silly side and my fun side.
Yeah.
But I find it really hard talking to people. So like I said, I'm really lucky that I had that first initial intro to networking, because the people that I met through that have ended up introducing me to other people who I've done other things with. So it's just crazy how sometimes when you're networking, it's not the people that you talk to directly that will create some type of partnership, but it's who they know as well.
Yeah. And for networking as well, like in terms of developing your character, how do you feel like it benefits you? Obviously, I would say it boosts your confidence. Is there anything that you would say in terms of not obviously just the people that are also beneficial, but what does it do for you as a person in your character?
The same. It boosts your confidence, and it just gives you a kind of like an open-mindedness to what's really out there, because unless you're speaking to people that are doing different things, you're going to be stuck in like this bubble of what you know.
Yeah.
But then when you start meeting other people, you understand that there are so many different ways to make money, so many different ways to create businesses and different avenues of businesses. So it just gives you a complete new look of the world, I would say, as well.
Yeah, and nowadays it's like who you know.
Yeah.
It's not what you do, it's
No.
who you know.
Who you know.
Like, to get a good position or to get like a job that is really hard to apply for, who you know.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Networking. And obviously, if you're not a part of Rise Collective, make sure you check out the links down below, because we have a community and we also host events. So be sure to check them out, because you'll not just only meet us, but you'll meet like-minded individuals, whether it's in business, in property, in trading, in the psychology aspect, whatever it is. We will make sure that we attend to your needs.
Facts. And I think talking about that as well, our online community, I think it is so important to network online as well.
Yes.
Which I know for a lot of people, when it comes to networking online, they see it as like clout chasing when you're networking with certain people. But when I say networking on social media has literally, again, got me to where I am. If I hadn't been networking on social media, created a following on social media, I wouldn't have then had the opportunity to create a partnership with a funding firm, which is then obviously what led me to doing everything that I'm doing today. So building a following and talking to people online can open so many doors for you. And I think that is great for people who are introverted and are scared about going to like in-person events. You can do so much from just talking to people online. Like, it is crazy. And that's really where we met.
Yeah, and to add to that, it's like, it doesn't matter about like showing, if you don't want to go to a networking event and like mingle with people, like you said, like online is the place for you. Because if someone lets you down or doesn't reply to your DM, you can unsend it. Like, you can pretend it never happened.
Yeah.
And more times than less, yes, if people have like big followings and stuff, they might not see your message. I have so many messages that I might open it and like look through it. But half of the time, like, I get emails, I get DMs, I get Twitter DMs. Like, it's too much.
Yeah.
So I think reach out to people that you feel like may be beneficial, but most importantly, like you said, build yourself a brand, because the world we live in today, everything is online. So if you can build yourself a brand, not only can you build yourself a platform for what you're trying to do and attract the people you want to attract, you can also network with people that are like you, and you could start a business like we have. You could start a podcast, you could collaborate with someone, you could get a sponsorship. There's so many opportunities out there for networking. And that's why I'm always going to say to people, if you're introverted like us, get yourself an audience, get yourself a following. Like, you don't have to sit there and clout chase as such, but networking and just putting the most into your work and just like being that person that's always posting, it's going to get you out there and it's going to open doors for you.
Absolutely. And I'll give a quick example actually of one of the biggest names in the trading space is obviously Tom Dante, which we knew of through Kieran, who did FX Connect with us, one of our great friends. But Kieran was obsessed with Tom Dante, and he was just always going on about how he's the greatest trader to ever come out of the UK. So one day I thought, you know what? Let me just DM him. Like, what's the worst that can happen? So I think he interacted with me or something, and there was, because I don't think his profile was open, so you couldn't just directly message him. But something happened, and I was able to directly message him. So I remember messaging him, and I was like, "Hey, I can't even remember what I said. To be fair, do you know what? Let me have a look at what I said to Tom Dante. Oh, he actually DM'd me. So he sent me my tweet. And I said to him, I was like, Kieran is going to have an absolute meltdown.
Oh my God, I remember this. You put this in the group chat. I remember.
So yeah, I said, Kieran's going to have an absolute meltdown that you're in my DMs. And he said, ask him if he's still shitting himself over NFP. And then I was like, you may as well just join our group chat with David, to be fair, David Bell, who we had a group chat with at the time. And he said, okay.
Yeah.
I said, send number. He sent me the number.
And that is a perfect example of put yourself out there.
Put yourself out, just be cheeky, like message people.
Because what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
No. The worst someone could say is no, but at least you tried.
Exactly. And I think having personality as well.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of these people have no personality, but of course, anyone who knows Tom, he's calling everyone a C word, swearing, like everyone knows that he has like a great personality, and he's a little bit of a hermit. Like, he doesn't go out or really put himself out there as much as he used to. So I was like, fuck it. Why not? Let me ask the question.
No, 100%. And it's even mad. It's like, I think, again, networking is amazing because now the person I was learning to trade from is my friend. And I think you always have to put yourself in rooms where you just have to believe it, but you also have to just be cheeky and put yourself out there.
Exactly.
Because if you don't, opportunities won't come. And an opportunity come from that for me. Like, I also worked for the guy that I learned to trade from. So there's always opportunities. Yeah. There's always opportunities for you out there if you're open to them. Most importantly, you have to be open to it. but you have to put yourself in the deep end, even if it feels uncomfortable.
I agree. Absolutely agree.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you like this episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and also comment your most favorite part of the episode. But don't forget to also check out the links down below to join our community, where me and Mads will be doing webinars, we'll be doing events so you can network with people, and also just be online and networking with people like you at home.